He is the head coach of the San Diego State football team, and he's back on Scott and BR on the Mighty 1090. Hi, Coach.
Hi, guys.
How's things going?
Oh, they're going good. How about you guys?
Doing really good.
Pretty good.
You making plans? You going this Saturday to the Kentucky Derby fundraiser at the Altman House for San Diego State Athletics?
Well, I planned to, but I heard you might be there, so I was thinking maybe not. But,
Come on.
Well,
no,
here's
I'm
good news.
I'm going to be there. We have meetings, conference meetings in Arizona, so both the basketball coach and football coach, we got to hustle back just to get there in time.
Yeah, you know what? They asked me to MC the event, and I committed to it. Coach, help me with this. You ready?
Okay.
My daughter has a soccer game now at 1 o'clock. It wasn't on the schedule. You know why? Because they didn't win. They had to win to get to where they are. And this is a win, and you advance, lose, and it's over. It's like being a senior for San Diego State, and this is your last game. If you win, you keep playing. If you lose, you're done, and this team is done. Conflict. What do you do?
Well, I had two daughters that were athletes, too, and I hate that you're in that position, but if you'd like me to MC for you, I can do that.
Oh, dude, would you mind?
No, I don't mind doing that.
So now when I say to them, hey, look, I can't do this, they go, well, you're leaving us high and dry.
No,
I'm not. I'm upgrading. I'm upgrading to
There
Rocky
you
Long.
go.
Well, it won't be an upgrade, but at least they know who I am.
Well, Coach, thank you for that. It always sucks when you're caught in that position, when you've made a commitment and then your kids' teams advance, and there's still more. I can't miss this.
You never know when the last time they'll play is.
Right, I can't miss this.
No, you can't miss it.
I love San Diego State athletics. I love Steve Altman. I love the Kentucky Derby. I love all of the things that are happening this Saturday at this party. But I happen to love my daughter, not a lot.
A little more.
Just a little more.
Just a little bit.
Little
Yeah.
tiny bit. Just
Yeah.
a little bit. And one day, San Diego State will be thanking me as she plays for them, hopefully.
All right.
Coach, let's talk about your guys. Start us off with Nico Saragusa being drafted in the 4th round by the Baltimore Ravens. Could the kid have gone to a better place where the first question everybody asks is, are you related to the original Goose? I mean, they got a new Goose.
He's been answering that question ever since he became a high school football player. He's been answering that question. So I don't think he'll handle it just right and say they're not related, but he's proud of the name.
How do you think he fits in? Do you think he's going to be able to just kind of walk in and
Well, to be honest with you, I was a little surprised he lasted that long. I thought someone would take him earlier because, as I've heard on TV and as they went through the draft, there's very few people anymore that don't run the spread. So when they take an offensive lineman from college, they spend 2 or 3 years trying to train him how to come off the ball and block for the run and pass protect like they do in the NFL. And he does all that. I mean, that's what we do on offense, and he does all that. So, we got a bunch of calls from a bunch of head coaches called here the week before the draft asking, personality questions about him rather than they already know the physical stuff. They want to know how tough he is and that kind of stuff. I actually thought he was going in the 3rd round to San Francisco, so maybe you can ask John Lynch about that.
I'll ask him tomorrow. But, it's interesting because, and we're talking to Coach Rocky Long from San Diego State, what I kept hearing the experts say, and when I say the experts, all the guys who are paid by the TV networks to tell you everything they know about the draft, which, by the way, of the 32 picks in the 1st round, all these guys do mock drafts. Guys like Mel Kiper got like 5 of 32 right. Mike Mayock from the NFL Network got like 7 of 32 right. So all these mock drafts are fun. They create some excitement around the draft. But these guys don't know anything. They don't know anything of what these teams are thinking. All I kept hearing was this is a very weak draft class for offensive linemen. So I'm with you, Coach. I was surprised that if you have a player that's been trained in a pro style, why not go get a player who's ready-made for the NFL earlier? As it turns out, he went in the 4th round. It's still great for the kid, but I just thought he might go a little bit higher also.
Well, I thought the ones that passed on him missed out because I've watched all those kids that they drafted before him on film. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not a draft expert, and I don't know exactly what the NFL is looking for, but he's as good as they are for interior linemen, for centers and guards. He's as good as those guys are. So Baltimore got a heck of a player.
By the way, I want to say to everybody down in Chula Vista who's listening this afternoon that earlier today I was saying, hey, it's good for Nico, it's good for the South Bay, and I think I may have said that he went to Olympian High School. He went to Mater Dei Catholic. because a bunch of people sent me tweets on that and said, hey, dude, you got the school wrong. Okay, so we're corrected now. Fake news, the whole deal.
Right.
Coach, I'm pretty excited for Nico Saragusa. I think it's a great place for him. I think it's a terrific coaching staff there. I mean, John Harbaugh is an excellent head coach. They're a successful team. They are, when you think about great organizations, particularly in the AFC, you start with New England. To me, I move on to Pittsburgh. Baltimore is right there in that class. I think of Kansas City and Denver, but to me, Baltimore is right there. I mean, the kid is going to a top-notch organization.
I agree. I totally agree with you, and I think he'll make the most of it, and I think he'll be in that league for a long time. And, he's already made us proud. He played really good for us and made us proud. Now he's got a chance to do some things at the next level, make a little money, and have a good time.
That's right. We're talking to Coach Rocky Long from San Diego State football. Coach, 10 picks later, the all-time leading rusher in the history of college football, our man Donnell Pumphrey, gets drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. And anybody who knows anything about the Eagles can put 2 and 2 together very quickly and go, he's the next Darren Sproles. Coach, is that too much to expect from Donnell Pumphrey?
No, I don't think so at all. I think that not in Nico's case, because I think Nico meets all the measurements. I think he's tall enough, he's big enough, he's athletic enough. And our other 2 guys that went, they don't meet any of the measurements. He's too short, he's too light. He can't do this, he can't do that, and all I've ever seen him do is do what people said he can't do. And I was okay with it because all the backs they took before him were big until a few picks before him, they picked a little guy. I forget where he was from, but they picked another small guy, and whoever did that made a big mistake because DJ's probably the best little running back in the draft and might be the best running back overall in the draft.
Yeah, when you think about Darren Sproles' career, and many of us saw the early days of that career, which, by the way, some thought the career might be over because he broke his leg either in his first or his second year with the Chargers. I want to say it was his first. So who knew what he was going to be? But eventually became one of the most prolific and threatening punt return guys, kick return guys.
Third down guy?
We say third down, but Billy Ray, I can remember the night the Chargers are hosting the Colts, and LT gets hurt, and Sproles takes over the game, scores the game-winning touchdown. And after the game, I remember walking through the hallway of Qualcomm Stadium outside the locker rooms, and Peyton Manning was being consoled by his mother and his wife.
Oh.
But that was Darren Sproles. And then Coach, having gone on and played in New Orleans and now in Philadelphia, I mean, when you look at a small guy who can do lots of different things on the field, can play multiple positions, can confuse a defense, can hide behind an offensive line. Everybody rips DJ Pumphrey for only being 178 pounds, but the guy was as durable as could be in 4 years.
Right. Yeah, I think he's got a great mentor. And I've heard, I don't know if this is true, I've heard that Darren Sproles is going to play for 1 more year, and that would be the perfect scenario for DJ. So maybe that's what the Eagles are thinking too.
Well,
yeah, good for him.
Perfect fit.
Donnell Pumphrey drafted in the 4th round, 132nd overall to the Philadelphia Eagles. Then you have a guy like DeMonte Casey, who was a terrific defensive back, guy who seemed to always find the ball, guy who could create interceptions, take the ball back the other way. Drafted in the 5th round, 149th overall. I mean, to me, that seems like a great place for him, going to Atlanta. And I say great place, meaning, look, 5th round, nothing to be ashamed of. Going to get a great opportunity to make this team.
Sure.
I'm sure these guys all know that they're going to have to probably contribute on special teams. I think Casey could be a long-time NFL player.
Oh, I believe he's going to be, and I agree with you. I think the fit's just right. He's going to a good team that actually needs what he does. They need a little bit extra help. Maybe they'll get in the Super Bowl again. I think he's going to be in that league for a long time if he doesn't get hurt. There's a classic case of he doesn't meet all the measurables. He's not 6'1", and he's not 200 pounds. As I saw the list of DBs, not safeties, obviously he's not a safety, but when I saw the list of corners going off the board, and you look at production, I mean he's one of the top 3 or 4 corners in the draft production-wise. He's just not 6'1". He's not 200 pounds. He's about 5'11". He's about 180 pounds. But he does everything they do, and I think the fit's good. I mean, I think he should have gone earlier. Obviously, I'm prejudiced, but I think he should have gone earlier. But I think the fit with the Falcons is perfect.
Coach, did and I haven't looked into this, and I should have, but did several others, or any others for that matter, get picked up and signed as undrafted free agents?
We had a bunch of them. Calvin Munson, Alex Barrett.
Where'd Calvin Munson go? Because he's a nice player. I mean, that guy to me.
Calvin Munson went to the New York Giants, I think.
As an you know who he reminds me of? What's the kid's name? A couple of years ago, he was a San Diego State linebacker, and he won a Super Bowl with Seattle. And then he got hurt, and he started working with Seattle as kind of like an assistant special teams coach. I can't remember the kid's name.
I know exactly who you're talking about. That was before me.
Yeah, anybody remember that? He was a Brady player, as I recall. Brady,
I think he was even before.
Could he have been before Coach Hoke?
Before that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he had a nice career in the NFL.
It's going to come to me in a minute.
Heath Farwell.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Heath Farwell. And that to me is Calvin Munson. You know, he's a guy who can play on every special team and could have himself a really nice NFL career.
We actually, I'm trying to count them as we go. I think we had 5 guys free agents. Quaid Miller signed. Alex Barrett, I already said that. Munson, Malik Smith, and I'm missing one. There's one more Daniel Brunskill. All those guys signed free agent contracts.
Well, good. So 3 guys drafted, 5 guys signing free agent contracts. That's 8 guys. Coach, how many guys are leaving the team because their eligibility is up from last year's team?
Well, I think we had 24 seniors last year.
Okay, so think about that. 33% of the San Diego State senior class either was drafted or signed by an NFL team. I don't know. Listen, it's not Alabama. I got it.
No, but it makes things on the recruiting trail a lot easier.
Well, what do you think, Coach? I mean, is preparing guys for the NFL and having guys get drafted and signing free agent contracts, is that helpful?
Yeah, obviously it's going to help recruiting. It helps the attitude of our players that are already here. The biggest thing about this is, we take great pride in this because not one of those guys was a highly recruited guy. Not one of those guys was a 5-star guy. But we, our coaches did a nice job of evaluating, and then those kids came in with the right attitude and made themselves players. Even though when they were in high school, that people didn't think they were going to be big-time players. And you take pride in this too. You look at the Big 12 with Oklahoma and all those guys. There's only one team in that league had more guys drafted than us, and that was Oklahoma. All the rest of them had the same or less guys drafted than we do. They ought to let us in one of those dang leagues.
Which league you want to go into? If you had your choice of picking any Power 5 conference, what's the one that you think San Diego State most fits with?
I think the Pac-12. But I think because of TV rights and all that, UCLA and SC won't let that happen. So we'd be happy to be in the Big 12.
I don't know about the Big 12. But I guess, look, you look at TCU and them leaving the Mountain West and going to the Big 12. Is that why you think that's the right place?
No, I just think that we're barking up the wrong tree with the Pac-12 because they're not going to let us in because of TV. Mm-hmm. And the Big 12 might let us in because of TV. They would get a market in Southern California.
Yeah. Doesn't also, like, the Pac-12 look at San Diego State like, ooh, you're a state school. You're not part of the UC system, or you're not part. Isn't there also something to that besides just TV?
Well, they might spout that off, but you have Oregon State, you have Arizona State, you got Washington State. What's the difference between those and us?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea.
That's the Pac-12. You're reading their media stuff.
I have no idea what the difference is. I really don't. I mean, I don't know if, like, here in California, we're like, hey, look, Cal and Stanford and USC and UCLA, hey, San Diego State, we look down on you for some reason. Which is, hey, listen, great. You're going to have a chance to start playing these teams, Coach. Is it this year? Is it Arizona State and Stanford both this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we did that so that we'll see how we do, but you can't beat them unless you play them, and I think playing them shows you exactly where you are, and if you're close, you keep working until you can get over the hump, and if you're right with them, maybe that shows them something that they don't know.
How about, just to Coach Long's point, listen to this. San Diego State football, with 3 players drafted, had more draftees than 9 schools in the Big 12, more draftees than 10 schools in the Big 10, more draftees than 7 schools from the ACC, more draftees than 6 schools from the Pac-12, and this is unbelievable.
Wow. More
draftees than 6 schools from the Southeastern Conference, and that was a tweet that was put out by San Diego State Athletic Director at J.D. Wicker. So just to your point, Coach, San Diego State's got a lot to be proud of in this NFL draft.
Yeah, we do. Now we got to move on to the next one. Hopefully we can do the same thing this next year.
Yeah, right on. Okay, Coach. Well, listen, I'm already getting a lot of feedback that they think it's a great idea that Saturday UMC, the event at the Altman House for San Diego State Athletics.
Well, I'm sure we can get it done probably with a combined effort. Coach Fisher will be there, and he's as good at it as anybody. And now that he's retired, he's got some time on his hands, so maybe we ought to get him to do it.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, Coach Fisher's got this new role that's undefined at this moment in the San Diego State Athletic Department. Maybe we should make him full-time MC.
I agree with that. I mean, we'd rather have you, but since you're not going to make it, I think Coach Fisher's the next best guy.
All right. Well, you're up there too, Yeah.
But if Coach Fisher can't do it, then I'll get in there just as a substitute. It won't be nothing like you two, but they'll live with it.
Coach Rocky Long, congratulations to you, your staff, your program, the university. 3 players drafted in the NFL draft, and hopefully all these guys will have long, successful, profitable NFL careers.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Coach, always a pleasure.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Have
sir.
a great day.
All right,
you too.